Hello everyone, now we will continue following the story of One Piece. Before we start, please everyone help click like. Let's start together. The story begins with Nami, who is now traveling to her hometown, a village named Kakoyasi. Then, as she walked to the gate of a large house, a young boy, crying and shouting while holding his sword, also ran toward that house. The boy said he came to take revenge on the owner of the house, named Arlong, who killed his father. At that moment, Nami didn't say anything, just pulled out the 3-section staff she had hidden in a special place, knocked the boy away, threw a bundle of money at him, and then chased him back home. After that, she walked into the house and met 4 people who were very friendly with her, as if they worked in the same crew. Then, their leader, named Arlong, announced that they should prepare a party to celebrate Nami's return. Then the scene cuts to Usopp, who has found the Going Merry, and the ship is docked not far from Arlong's house. Zoro didn't know what Nami was doing at that house, but he wanted to persuade Usopp and Johnny to storm in. At that moment, Usopp and Johnny took a hammer and knocked Zoro out from behind, then tied him to the mast so he wouldn't do anything reckless. They all knew that Arlong and his crew were very fierce and strong, so they couldn't just rush in recklessly. Then Usopp wanted to sail their boat to dock next to the Going Merry, but they saw a few of Arlong's crew members hanging out nearby. As for Arlong's crew, when they saw their boat, they jumped into the water to swim over for a look. At that moment, Usopp and Johnny were terrified, so they jumped into the water and swam away, leaving Zoro alone on the boat. Afterward, they swam away to a village named Goza, where all the houses had been uprooted and turned upside down. Johnny heard that Arlong had only come to this village about 3 weeks ago, so it couldn't have been anyone else. It must have been Arlong's crew who did this. Then, for some reason, Johnny saw something and suddenly bolted, leaving Usopp behind. What Johnny was afraid of at that moment was Arlong's crew. Later, Usopp also saw that person and tried to run away as well. At that moment, he ran into a young boy and a woman named Nijiko. And because he wanted to be a hero and protect children and the weak, Usopp prepared to fight that fishman. But instead, Nijiko hit him with a hammer, knocked him out, and dragged him away to hide. The reason the village was destroyed was that one person dared stand up against Arlong's crew. Arlong's crew are not of the human race. They are born as human-fish hybrids. Some are part octopus, some part fish. What's important is that they are very strong and have more special abilities than humans. The reason they dared to abuse the people as they pleased was because a corrupt marine captain named Nezumi was protecting them. Returning to Zoro, he has now been sent to meet Arlong. And because she was afraid Arlong would kill Zoro, Nami came to deal with Zoro herself. She told Zoro that she is a member of Arlong's pirate crew and that she had been traveling with Zoro's crew only to use them. At that moment, Zoro didn't believe her, so he jumped into the water with his hands tied, wanting to see if Nami would help him. And of course, Nami wouldn't let Zoro drown. She jumped in to save him. After pulling Zoro back onto the deck, Nami punched him a few times and told Arlong to let her deal with Zoro herself. At that same time, one of Arlong's crew members ran up and reported that Zoro didn't come alone. A friend with a long nose came with him, and that person has now run off to Kakoyasi village. Hearing this, Arlong decided to travel to Kakoyasi village because he also had business to take care of there. Not long after, Arlong's crew arrived at Kakoyasi village. There, Arlong confronted a man who had been secretly hiding weapons from him, and he wanted to kill that man as an example to the others. Luckily, Usopp used his slingshot to save him just in time. This made Arlong furious with Usopp, so he destroyed the house Usopp was standing on, but at that moment, he couldn't do anything to Usopp. Returning to Zoro, when Arlong left the house, Nami went to free him and told him to leave immediately. After that, Nami traveled to her mother's grave, where she also met her sister, Nijiko. Through their conversation at that time, we learn that Nami wants to save 100 million berries to free Kakoyasi village from Arlong's control. Arlong had promised Nami that if she gave him that much money, he would stop tormenting the people of Kakoyasi village. Now, Nami has almost collected the full amount, only needing another 7 million. Let's go back to Zoro for a bit. After he was free, he went and beat up Arlong's crew, leaving them scattered all over the house. Then he saw one of Arlong's crew members who looked like an octopus and was named Hatchin, fishing outside the house. And Hatchin thought Zoro was a guest coming to see Arlong, so he kindly offered to take Zoro to Kakoyasi village because he knew Arlong was there. Then the scene cuts to Luffy's crew, who are traveling to find Nami. Along the way, Sanji cooked a delicious meal for his friends, and at that moment, the smell of his food attracted a giant sea cow to follow them. As soon as he realized the sea cow wanted to steal their food, Luffy punched it, and Sanji added 2 more kicks. Then they tied it up to help pull the boat to get to their destination faster. Back to Arlong, when he got home, he saw that his crew had been beaten up by Zoro and were lying around. A little later, one of his crew members with a mouth like a seahorse, named Chu, caught Usopp and brought him there. At that moment, they were about to cut off Usopp's nose, but Nami arrived just in time. And to save Usopp, Nami pretended to argue with him, until finally, she pretended to kill him and throw him into the water as well. Their acting at that moment was so convincing that Arlong's crew completely believed it. But at that time, Johnny, who was watching from behind a fence, also believed that Nami had killed Usopp. Back to Luffy's crew, the sea cow has now pulled them to their destination, but for some reason it swam into a cliff, causing Luffy's boat to launch into the air as if it were flying. When the boat fell back down, by a great coincidence, they met Zoro. After they all landed safely, Johnny went to meet them and told them that Nami had killed Usopp. Hearing this, Luffy was horrified and couldn't believe Nami would do such a thing. At that moment, Nami also arrived there, and she told them that it was true she had killed Usopp. She added that she had only befriended them to take advantage of them. In reality, she said that to make Luffy's crew give up on her and leave the village because she didn't want to see them get hurt. At that point, Luffy was completely confused and didn't want to go anywhere, so he just laid down right there. As for Nami, not knowing how to make Luffy understand, she got very angry and ran back. At the same time, another incident occurred. Another group of Marines had come to deal with Arlong's crew because they had received complaints from the villagers of Gosa. Initially, they fired a cannon into Arlong's house, but Arlong was truly ferocious. He used his teeth to bite and shattered the cannonball. Then Arlong's crew member, Chu, boarded the marine ship and used his water gun mouth to injure their commander. At the same time, another of Arlong's crew members, Hatchin, went to push a coral reef underwater, creating a whirlpool that sucked the marine ship away. All the villagers of Kakuayasi who were watching the incident were truly hopeless because no one could come to help them. Back to Usopp, he has now met up with Luffy's crew and told them the whole story. After learning everything, they discussed ways to help Nami, but it was very difficult because Nami didn't want them to interfere. Just then, Nami's sister, Nijiko, arrived and wanted to tell them Nami's story. But strangely, Luffy didn't want to know Nami's history and walked away from that place, saying he was going for a walk. Then, Nijiko recounted that when they were little, she and Nami were both orphans, and they were adopted and raised by a foster mother named Bellamere. Their life wasn't very well off, they earned just enough to get by. One day, when Nami and Nijiko went to the market, Arlong's pirates crew arrived and demanded that the villagers pay them a monthly tribute, or they would be killed. The price they demanded was 100,000 berries for adults and 50,000 berries for children. At that time, no one dared to argue with them, so they agreed to pay the money as requested. Afterward, as the pirate crew prepared to leave, they saw smoke coming from a house that hadn't paid yet and headed there. The house was the home of Bellamere, Nami and Nijiko's foster mother. When they arrived, Bellamere greeted Arlong by sticking a long rifle into his mouth. It should be noted that Bellamere was also once a marine, but Arlong's teeth were so strong that he could bite and shatter Bellamere's rifle. Then Arlong stomped on Bellamere's hands to teach her a lesson, and Genzo, the village sheriff, came to intervene, telling Bellamere to pay Arlong so he wouldn't kill her. For her family, including the 2 children, she had to pay 200,000, but at that time, Bellamere only had 100,000, which wasn't enough, so she decided to pay for the children and not for herself. In the end, Arlong killed Bellamere as an example to the others. After that, Arlong's crew found a map in Bellamere's bag, a map that Nami had drawn. And because Nami's skill was so good, Arlong took her to work for him. At that same time, Genzo, the village sheriff, tried to stop them but was cut and wounded in many places by Arlong's crew. In fact, the villagers were not all cowards. That day, they also tried to fight the pirate crew, but they only ended up getting themselves wounded all over. A few days later, the villagers gathered, wanting to go and rescue Nami. But Nami came to meet them and said it wasn't necessary because she had agreed to work with the pirate crew to earn money. In reality, Nami didn't want them to be in danger because of her. From that moment on, Nami started to steal money from pirates and bury it in a secret place because Arlong had promised her that if she could find 100 million and give it to him, he would set Kakuayasi village free. Now let's return to the present. Nami only needs another 7 million to reach the 100 million. But one day, a group of marines led by the corrupt officer Nezumi went to see her and demanded to confiscate all the treasure she had stolen from pirates, putting it under state ownership. At that moment, he knew how much money Nami had, which made Nami realize that the marines were colluding with Arlong. After that, Nami didn't agree and rushed forward, but Nezumi pulled out his gun and shot. However, the shot didn't hit Nami. It hit Nijiko, who jumped in to take the bullet for her. Then, Nami quickly took Nijiko to see the village doctor, and by coincidence, Luffy was also hanging around nearby. When he saw Nami, Luffy went to ask her if there was anything he could do to help, but Nami was very angry with Luffy for not leaving the village with his crew. Later, Nami ran to find Arlong to settle things, but she couldn't do anything to Arlong, only getting laughed at by them. At the same time, the villagers had learned everything about Nami's situation, and they felt it was very unfair to Nami, so they also gathered to go and settle the score with Arlong. At that moment, Nami returned just in time, and she tried to act normal as if nothing had happened. She told them that the money was in the lot, and she would earn it back soon. When they didn't listen, Nami even pulled out a knife to threaten them, but even so, it was still useless because the villagers were already boiling with rage at this point. After the villagers all went out to find Arlong, Nami was truly at a loss, not knowing how to help them. At that moment, she was so angry with Arlong that she took a knife and started stabbing the Arlong logo tattoo on her shoulder. Seeing this, Luffy helped stop her because he felt her pain so much. And it was then that Nami asked Luffy for his help. After getting the green light from Nami, Luffy didn't hesitate because he had wanted to help her for a long time, but she wouldn't let him. After that, Luffy and his crew went to Arlong's place to settle the score. For this episode, I will end it here for now. Thank you all for watching this story with me. If you all think this story is good or not, please help comment and let me know. Thank you once again, and wish you good health and a bright, prosperous future.